Hi, welcome back to the Distressed Princess. I'm Rhonda, and these are the DIYs I'm working on today. In the first DIY, I'm using some books that I found at the Dollar Tree, and I don't know if they would be good reads or not. I didn't read them. I do like to read books, but I bought these books just for decorating purposes only, not for reading. And one of the simplest ways that you can use books in decorating is to remove their jackets or their book covers and replace them with prettier ones. So we're going to do that with these books. I'm going to make new book covers using these pretty floral bags that I got at the Dollar Tree, and they're a large size, and I'm going to need 2 of them to cover these 3 books. So you start with the small narrow sides that's got the fold in the center, and you want to use that folded center as a cut line and cut down the bag on both sides. And then you can open the bag up, lay it down flat, and easily cut the bottom out of the bag. I wanted to use the parts of the bag that already had a fold. And so the parts that have the different design that were the small sides of the bag, they are the parts that wrap inside the book, and they did fit almost perfectly. Then I used the original book jacket to make a template, and I traced a line for my new book jacket. And then cut on the line that you made. And voila, that's all it takes. You've got a new pretty floral book jacket to display anywhere in your home, but I'm going to use mine in my bedroom. I made 3 book covers for my 3 books, and then I looked at them and decided that I wasn't so happy with the edges of the books being all different colors, because I'm going to display these in my bedroom and I wanted them to match everything in my bedroom. So since I'm not planning to read these books, I'm going to paint the edges white. And so after I painted them, I was a lot happier. They looked a lot more uniform and just prettier in my opinion. And something else you can do is paint the whole book white and then embellish it with whatever you want. So I had this ribbon that I got on clearance at Michael's some time ago, and I was hoping to use it in the spring. I think I bought it for Easter, but I didn't wind up using it. But I'm going to use it on this book right now, and it's wired ribbon. This is so simple. I didn't even need a glue gun. And here are my made-over Dollar Tree books that only cost me $5 to make, and I absolutely love them. In the next DIY, I'm going to show you how to make a cloche using things from the Dollar Tree. And you'll need a stemless wine glass and this jar, which you will only need the lid. For the base, the Dollar Tree did have these wreath decorations at springtime. I'm not sure if they still have that or not, but you can get any wood round, a small size one from Hobby Lobby or Michael's. First, remove the label from the stemless wine glass, and I used my Goo Gone to get rid of the residue that was left over, and then remove the wire that comes on the back of the wreath decoration that's for hanging. Then I began painting the wreath decoration, and I forgot about the hole that's there for hanging. I was getting ahead of myself. I do that sometimes when I get excited about a project, but it's not too late. I just went ahead and did one coat of paint, and I dried it with my hair dryer, and then I went back and filled the hole with caulk. And I keep forgetting to buy spackle. Spackle actually would work better than caulk at filling a hole like this, but like I said, I keep forgetting to buy it. But they have that at the Dollar Tree, so I recommend to have some on hand always. So then I put the second coat of paint onto the round and I let it dry. The next thing you need to do is remove the plastic inner piece from the lid that came off of that jar. And look how perfectly it sits on the bottom of the wine glass, just like a cloche. I used super glue Fix-All adhesive from the Dollar Tree to secure the lid onto the bottom of the wine glass, but you could use E6000 or whatever glue that you prefer. If you have any strings of glue that wants to spread out like a spider web, be sure to get those before you secure the lid down. And remember, this isn't fast adhesive. It's going to take some time to cure, so be very careful in handling your cloche until it is completely secure. So what's going to go inside of the cloche? I decided on one of my last remaining Sola wood flowers. I'll leave a link in my description box below so that you can get your own Sola wood flowers. I am in love with these things. I intend to order some more for myself, but I'm out of the dye that they send to color your flowers with. So, I'm going to try to make do with regular paint, and I wanted this flower to be pink so that it would match the books that I just made, and so I'm using Cameo Pink from Apple Barrel. But I will also tell you that it is not near as easy to color your flowers with regular paint as it is to use the paint the dye that they provide. It's a lot easier to use theirs. But like I said, I was out, so I'm going to make do. And I kind of mixed up my paint with a little bit of water to thin it. And I was going to dip my flower inside of the water, just like you would using their dye. And since I didn't have a whole lot of pink paint left, I had to use my sponge brush to just kind of paint that color onto the flower. And like I said, once again, if you use the Sola wood flower dye, all it is a dip, one little dip. You'll have a bowl of water with your dye in it, and you just dip your flower and then set it aside to dry. That easy. You don't have to paint each individual petal like I'm doing here now. So I'll leave a link up above for the video where I did my first Sola wood flowers, and you'll see how much easier it is to use their dye than trying to use your own paint. I set my flower aside to dry, or I may have hit it with the hair dryer because I'm that impatient. But anyway, my flower was drying, and now I wanted to make a pedestal for the flower to sit on inside the cloche. And this is actually a lid that came off of a water bottle I bought from the Dollar General store some long time ago. And now I'm going to use another product that I'm in love with, and that is my Totally Dazzled little brooches, and they have some new ones that's like these little ribbons. And so my plan is to paint the wooden lid white, and then I'm going to hot glue these pretty Totally Dazzled brooches all around the outside. I'll also leave a link in my description box for the Totally Dazzled embellishments so you can go shopping. I painted my wooden lid with just one coat of the linen white Rust-Oleum chalk paint, and that way it looked like a whitewash. When it was dry, I hot glued and alternated the pretty rhinestone and pearl bows with the pretty rose gold and rhinestone decorative pieces. I'm really sorry I lost the footage, but the next thing I did was hot glue that pedestal that we made to the white wood round. And then I hot glued the rose to the center of the pedestal. And then the last part is to very carefully put the lid of the cloche onto the top of the rose. In this DIY, I'm redoing a DIY I've done in the past, which was this tray made out of an antique picture frame that was originally a brownish black color, and I had painted it white. So the only thing that you've missed out on in not seeing that video, which I will link above if you want to see how I made this original tray, but I just painted it with a couple coats of the Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. Now for this DIY, I'm removing the glass and the backing and the only two little pieces on the back that was holding those in. I'm going to decorate the frame with these greenery pieces that came from the Dollar General store, and I've used them for different DIYs, so they're already cut apart, but they are beautiful frosty color. I love using these. So I kind of arranged them in the corner of the frame, 2 or 3 pieces on each side, and now I'm going to bundle them together using floral wire. And I used my wire cutters to cut off any of the bulky floral stems that were poking out. And to go along with the greenery, I'm going to use 2 more of my last remaining Sola wood flowers, and one that I already had dyed a really pretty color, but I didn't wind up using it in that DIY. So now I'm going to see if I can color on top of that blue color, so we'll see. So my plan is for one of these flowers to be the same pink as I dyed my flower before. And then I'm going to try to dye the blue one to be a darker pink color, like between a pink and a red. And I know I have 3 bowls here. I thought I was going to dye each one a different color, but then in the end I decided to leave one its natural color. This time I added a lot more water to my paint to see if I could get it more like the original Sola wood flower dye, because it's a lot of water. It's thick dye, but it takes a lot of water, and so that I thought would make it easier to just dip the flower and not have to actually paint the petals. So, and it was working out a lot better than the first time. I still recommend. It's easier to do this using the Sola wood dye, but in a pinch, this will work. Plus, I was really happy that the original blue color that this flower was, even as pretty as it was, I'm glad that I was able to cover it with the color that I wanted now. Working with these flowers is so much fun. I can't explain it. It's just, you get to color them whatever color you want, and they turn out so surprisingly soft when you get them dyed. and they look so realistic and just, I don't know, they're just a lot prettier than regular artificial flowers, I think. So again, in my description box below will be a link if you want to check into getting your own Sola wood flowers to craft with. I highly recommend them. And now it's time to assemble everything, and I'm just going to use my trusty hot glue gun. I'm going to use a gob of glue for this bundle of greenery, so I put a lot under the greenery and then I go back and forth on top of the greenery to make sure that it sticks down. And I should have done this first before I added the greenery, but I remembered I wanted to use that pretty ribbon that I used in the first DIY on the books. I wanted to make a hanger, even though this actually could hang from the sawtooth hanger, but this will be like an embellishment. And so I cut a length of this ribbon and I used my heavy-duty stapler to staple it to the back of the frame. And then when my flowers were dry, I hot glued them to the greenery. And I'm really glad that I gave a different perspective to this old DIY so that I can appreciate it now in my bedroom. And here's another look at all the bedroom DIYs today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you want to see more budget DIYs, just click this link that I've provided here for you. It'll take you to the next video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.